which are under experiment. Okay, good. In general sense, we can say that a sample means a small part of a small part of large population. Large population. Okay, so see, sometimes while doing experiment or while doing research, it is unable to gather information from the entire population. When there is no possibility to collect data from the entire population, then sampling concept is the most relevant and most apt. For example, you are working as a marketing manager. You are working as a marketing manager, and you are providing a product with good quality. You are providing your product with good price when comparing with the competitor, and your product is available in the market. So you are doing your best, but at the end of the day, you are not getting your expected, like you are not reaching your expected sales. Then obviously it's a problem. So as a marketing manager, you should know what are the reasons for not getting good sales, even though you are providing everything to the customer. Then what you need to do is you have to conduct a study called market study or market research. I hope everybody heard about the word called market research, na? Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now,
Yes,
while
sir.
doing marketing research, what we need to do is we have to know the perceptions of the people about your product in the market. Now, while getting perceptions of the people about your product, we can have two ways. One is called population study. What is called population study? Another is called sample study. Another is called sample study. Population study is nothing but if you do a study by considering each and every element of each and every element of uh, each and every element in the market. Got it? And let's say, for example, you are doing like you wanted to know the perceptions of the students about social media. Let's say called social media. మీరు సోషల్ మీడియా గురించి పీపుల్ ఒపీనియన్ తీసుకోవాలి. Then here your population is all the people in Visakhapatnam who are using social media are said to be your population. Remember, population is nothing but population is not the total population of a place. Here in statistics, population is nothing but all the elements which are relevant to your study. And for example, you wanted to know the feedback on a product called cigarettes. Then your population is nothing but your population is not all the people in Visakhapatnam. Population is nothing but all the people who are smoking.
Smoking.
All the people who are smoking is nothing but your population. Let's say, for example, you wanted to know the feedback on Samsung television brand. Now, all the consumers here, all the consumers who can buy television is coming under your population. Got it? So, population is nothing but all the elements which are under study, which are relevant to a particular variable is called as population. So, in your study, if you collect the data from each and every element of your population, then your study is called as population study. So advantage with population study is you will get data from everybody, so you are going to get accuracy in the result. You are going to get accuracy in the result. That is the important advantage. But drawback is, just imagine when the population is in lakhs or in crores, it is difficult to collect the data from each and every element. It takes a lot of time and it incurs a lot of financial resources. So it is not possible to go with the population study. Population study in all cases. So what we can do is, out of the total population, we can get a small set of population, or what we call a subset of this population is called as a sample, and we can do our experiment on the sample. So as per the statistics, sample study results are always almost nearby population study results. Then the advantage with sample study is it is easy to finish the study with less population, and you're also going to get accuracy in the result. That result is almost similar to population study. Got it? Aithe, to get the sample, see, like when we have population, we need to extract a sample from the total population. Got it? So that extraction of sample from the population is not an easy task. There existed some scientific methods to extract the sample from the population. Got it? So what we need to do is, now we should learn what are those sampling techniques to extract the sample from the population. Now I'm going to explain how to extract sample from the population through some statistical techniques. So this is very important. See, I have used very number of times for the exam. This question will be given like this. I'm writing the question even. Define sampling and explain sampling techniques. Explain sampling techniques in brief. Okay, so I have already explained the meaning of sampling. Sampling is nothing but the process of extraction of the sample from the population which is under study. Clear? Then the total sampling techniques are classified into two categories. Exam le lag raha hai sampling techniques, very important for theory, sure question for exam. The total sampling techniques are classified into two categories. One is probability sampling techniques. Or these are also called as random sampling techniques. Okay, another classification is non-probability sampling techniques. These are also called as non-random sampling techniques. So under probability sampling techniques, we have different types. One is simple random sampling techniques. Second is stratified random sampling technique, and third is systematic random sampling technique, and fourth is cluster random sampling technique, and next is multi-stage random sampling technique. Under non-random or non-probability, we have few types. First is convenience sampling technique, and second is purposive sampling technique, and next is,
Can you repeat it?
first is convenient sampling technique, and second is purposive, PURPOSIVE, purposive sampling technique, and third is judgment judgment sampling technique. Third is judgment sampling technique, and fourth is this what we call quota sampling technique, and the last one is snowball, SNOW, snowball sampling technique. So these are the total sampling techniques we have for the purpose of extracting the sample from the total population. This I have a PPT. I will send you the PPT after the class. First of all, I will explain very brief. For further reading, I will send you a PPT. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. And along with the PPT,
Okay, sir.
also share the notes that you are writing. So that it will be helpful.
I will send you this, no problem. I not only send you this, for this additional information, like for further notes of this sampling techniques, I will send you a PPT. Go through that PPT once again after the class. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now I'm just explaining every sampling technique within 5 to 10 minutes. So you just remember what we call the meaning of these concepts. Just a minute, I will write with another color so that will be useful. Just a minute. Okay. Now let's come for the first technique, that is simple random. Before going to these techniques, in the probability sampling techniques, the procedure follows the concept of probability. And here the extraction of a sample from the population having a scientific proof for the process. Whereas in the non-probability, these techniques do not follow any scientific methods, and these are called oral methods. So obviously, left side techniques follow scientific procedures, so these will give you accuracy in the getting sample. But on the right side techniques are not that much of accuracy, having not that much of accuracy comparing with probability techniques. Now let's come for simple random. Simple random process is also called as lottery method. This is suitable. Simple random technique is suitable when the population is very small. Here what we do is we will pick the elements one after another from the population without having any priority. So my point is in simple random sampling technique, out of the total population, we will pick the elements one after another. Without having any priority. Let's say, for example, our online class having 65 students. Now, out of 65, I may pick one after another, like without having any priority. Let's say, for example, for example, I pick Ajay Kumar. After that, I will pick CH Ramesh. After that, I will pick Setti. After that, I will pick Kirti, Maulika. See, if you observe, I do not have any priority to pick these particular people. So what I'm doing is, out of total 65 students, I'm picking my elements one after another without having any particular choice. So this process is called simple random. So the most advantage with simple random is everybody having a chance to be the part of the sample. Everybody having same chance of getting to the part of the sample. So that is called simple random. Elaborate explanation you can get from my PPT. Now let's come for the stratified. In stratified, what we do is we will divide the total population into various groups based on some characteristics called age, gender, income, and so on. And here what we do is, from the total population, and before that, stratified sampling is most useful when the population is very high, when the population is very large. And here what we do is, we divide the total population into various groups based on some characteristics, might be age, might be gender, might be qualification, might be experience, and so on, based on your requirement. Then each group is called as one stratum. Then out of the stratums, we can choose appropriate one based on our study. For example, I wanted to know the perceptions of the people in Visakhapatnam for a particular product called lipstick. Something called lipstick. If you observe, lipstick is a product which is bought by female elements. Now, if you observe, I wanted to know the feedback on this product called lipstick. Now, I wanted to conduct this study in Visakhapatnam. Then our total population in Visakhapatnam is 25 lakhs. Now, somebody tell me, how can I divide this population into groups based on stratification?
Based on gender?
Sir, area wise.
Huh?
Sir, area wise.
అర్థం అవ్వలేదండి.
Based on gender, sir?
Based on gender.
Correct, based on gender, because I wanted to know the feedback of a product called lipstick, which is basically having the customers of female, na. So for example, lipstick gurinchi abbayalni adite, they do not know kada. So to get better feedback, I have to ask the feedback from the women. So my point is, this 25 lakhs population we have to divide based on a characteristic called gender, that is male and female. Now, let's say the total male in the population is, say,
particular group of people, sir.
Entama?
This is applicable for particular group of people, sir.
Correct. Particular group of people. Then tell me, lipstick is relating to which particular group?
Female.
So in my first first dividing of the population, I need to do based on gender, that is male and female. So let's say there is 12 lakhs of people, male is there in Visakhapatnam, and 10 lakhs population is 10 lakhs female is there in our Visakhapatnam. This is first stratification. Now straight away, this male strata, we call it a strata or stratum, can be eliminated from our study. So right now we can concentrate on 10 lakhs because all these are female. Now if you
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, this population of the females, which is 10 lakhs, will not be the population in total for having the survey on lipstick, will be the female, and in that stratum will be divided. Because in case of gender, male stratum we are already removing. So the population, we have to consider the population as a female population. Correct. And then we have to make stratum, sir.
Correct. Now our population is female population. This female population we have got through first phase of stratification. This is the first phase. Now again, if you observe, all the elements in 10 lakhs of female population may not be the elements of or the customers of lipstick, na, because this 10 lakhs female consisting kids, maybe
kids and old.
Under 10
Based
years.
on region.
Huh?
Based on region, sir, urban, rural.
That no. Even rural people also can use lipstick, na.
Yes,
But
sir.
maybe, but if you observe carefully, the kids and
Age we can
Age old people and kids can be removed.
So further 10 lakhs of population, or what we call these women, can be classified into what we call another factor called age. So less than 10 years, 10 to 15 years, 15 to 30 years, maybe 30 to 50 or more than 50 likewise. Do you understand? Did you get some idea?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
my point is, in the stratification or in the stratified random sampling, what we do is we divide a large group of people into various stratums based on some characteristics. Got it? Now let's come for the third one, systematic random sampling. In the systematic random sampling, what we do is, and this systematic random sampling is mostly useful for household survey center. Household surveys. Household surveys ante, let's say for example, few years back, our GVMC wanted to introduce a new system called water meters for municipal water. So what they have done is, before introducing that new scheme or what we call new plan, generally what they do is they wanted to know the perceptions of households on this new water system, or like water meter system. Got it? So here we wanted to know whether the households wanted to install these water meters or not. So this is a situation where systematic random sampling is very much useful. So here what we do is, here we need to get the data from a set of households in a street of a particular place. Let's say these are houses. Let's say these are houses in a particular street. Let's say there are 200 houses in this particular street. Now what we do is, in the systematic sampling technique, what we do is we will fix a particular value for a constant k. Suppose then k is equal to 10 తీసుకున్నాను అనుకోండి. Then in this street, from every 10th house I need to collect the data. I repeat, from all these 200 houses, from every, I have taken k is equal to 10. So from every 10th house I need to collect the data. That means from every 10th house means, here my sample is equal to, the total is 200 by my k is equal to 10 kabatti, that means my sample is nothing but 20. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
So here we
Yes,
are
sir.
following a particular system, what we call every 10th house. So this is called, and this procedure is called systematic random sampling. Next is cluster. This cluster is also useful when the population is very large. So in the cluster sampling, see, this cluster is almost similar to stratified. This cluster is almost similar to stratified. But the difference is, in the stratification, the division of population into groups based on characteristics called age, gender, and so on. But in cluster, the total population will be divided into various groups based on geographical area. For example, I wanted to conduct a study throughout our state. Then the total population of our state is said to be our total population. Now I wanted to divide the population into a system called a cluster. Then a cluster is nothing but a small geographical area where a group of people are living together. I repeat, cluster is nothing but a small group. It's a small geographical area where a group of people are living together. So my point is, here we divide the population into various groups based on geographical area. Let's say, for example, this
It is like colony. It is like colony.
Like for example, if my total population is Visakhapatnam ankomma, so in this total population of Visakhapatnam, Kancharapalam is one cluster.
Yeah, okay.
Kodunapalam is another cluster.
For example, wards, no sir? The entire district is divided into 99 wards. We can take it as clusters.
Exactly. We can divide, and not only wards might be a criteria, one criteria. Suppose మీరు వార్డ్స్ అనుకుంటే, let's say there are 100 wards అనుకోండి, each ward is coming under one cluster. Suppose
Yes, sir. I got it.
if I want to divide into zones అనుకోండి, zones, I think we have 8 zones, na? I think 8 zones. Previously 6 undevi, now it become 8 zones. Now each zone is coming under one cluster. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Did you get my point?
Yes, sir.
Then let's say all this is Visakhapatnam. As he said, suppose if you divide the Visakhapatnam into various wards, suppose ward 1, ward 2, ward 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and so on, then each ward is coming under one cluster. Now based on your study and based on your requirement, you may concentrate on a particular ward, or you may concentrate on a 10 wards or 5 wards, lekapothe you may concentrate on all the wards. So what we do, what I mean to say is, in cluster random sampling, we divide the population into clusters based on geographical areas, and further sample can be extracted through some further criteria. Now next is multi-stage. Multi-stage ante in a single study, if you use more than one criteria, ante sometimes suppose ee cluster lone chudandi, ee cluster lone let's in the initial stage you may divide the population into clusters based on wards ga divide chesaru. Later from each ward, out of total wards you have randomly you have chosen okay 5 wards. So you have chosen ward 1, ward 10, ward 20, ward 30 and ward 50. So out of total wards, I mean dividing the wards into based on geographical areas is said to be first criteria, first phase. In the second phase, out of these we have chosen randomly, like the purposively 5 wards, that is second choice or second stage. Again in these 5 wards, based on your requirement, you may divide the population into 2 categories called male and female. So this is third phase. Again, if you concentrate on only males and if you pick males randomly one after another, then that is called as simple random, maybe 4th stage. And my point is, in a single study, if you use more than one stage, then it is said to be multi-stage sampling until. That's it. Further doubts I will explain in the next class, or I will send you PPT, because I need to cover more in today's class. Shall I move further?
Yes, sir.
Now with the convenient sampling technique, see I told you now, these techniques do not follow any scientific method. These are random method. These are oral methods. So in the first one, what we call convenient sampling. In the convenient sampling, we do not have any procedure. Then what we do is, whenever we have convenience to meet a particular respondent who is relating to our study, we collect the data. Let's say, for example, I wanted to study the stress levels of the teachers who are working in corporate schools and corporate colleges. So my question is, I wanted to do a research study and I wanted to know the stress levels of the teachers who are working in corporate schools and colleges. Now what I do is, now here I have 2 ways. In the first way, I can directly go to the corporate colleges and I can meet the teachers and I can collect the data. All this is said to be, if you follow this, it's coming under probability sampling. Otherwise, we have one more, what we call, we can get the people through our convenience. Let's say, for example, see, for getting feedback, generally I will prepare a questionnaire, and I normally carry some questionnaire in my bag. Let's say I'm traveling to Hyderabad by train. Now, while traveling, I have a co-passenger. So while chit-chatting with my co-passenger said that, sir, what are you doing? Then my co-passenger said that, sir, I'm working as a teacher in Sri Chaitanya college. So now if you observe, he is our our required element, because our study on corporate teachers, and belongs to that particular study. So we can get the data from that fellow. Now if you observe here I haven't just according to my convenience I got that fellow and I got the data. So my point is, if you get the elements according to your convenience other than a procedure, then getting that sample is said to be convenient sampling. Next is purposive. So in the purposive sampling, we do not give much importance for convenience. Even though it is difficult to get the data, we give importance to the purpose of the study. Even though we face difficulty, we identify them and we reach them and we try to collect the data. So these are mostly we can see these kind of collection of data from journalists. If you observe journalists' work, they do not bother about convenience. They do a lot of hard work and they try to identify unknown elements, and even with risk they will identify the elements, they will collect the data, and they give importance for purpose. Coming to the third one, judgment. See, when there is no other choice of getting sample from the population, we give preference for judgment. In the judgment, what we do is, if you see the word judge, here judge is nothing but an experienced person or an experienced statistician who did lot of research, who having lot of experience in research. So what athanu mana judge antam. So what we do is we meet that experienced fellow and we try to get help from the judge. What we do is we go to that experienced fellow and we tell them that, sir, I'm unable to identify my sample, sir, can you help me? Then based on your study and based on your requirement, that experienced fellow will suggest you a particular sample, and that sample can be finalized. So you got the sample through an experienced fellow, so your sampling procedure is called as judgment sampling. Next is quota sampling. In quota means considering equally. In quota sampling, what we do is, when we have a population like this and we divide the total population into various parts, and each part will be given equal preference. Let's say from the first part, if I consider 100 people, second part 100, and all the parts should be considered equally, and my total sample will be, in this example, my total will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4, 16, and 1600 is my sample. So my point is, in quota sampling, from the total parts or total geographical areas, each part or each geographical area will be given equal preference, and the total of equal parts is said to be our final sample. This is the way of getting sample through quota sampling. And the last one is snowball sampling. Snowball sampling is useful when we are unable to identify a particular element. And sometimes in some studies it is unable to get the sample. Let's say, for example, do you know AgriGold? Do you know AgriGold scheme? Have you heard about AgriGold scheme?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
If you
sir.
observe that that became a big issue 2-3 years back, and that owners, MD of AgriGold business like turned off their board. So మీరు అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తే all the investors in AgriGold lost their money. So this became a case, and all the offices of AgriGold were shut down, were closed. Now, for example, if you wanted to know the problems of the people who invested money in AgriGold, Now tell me, to study, to work on this particular issue, now who is my population? Who is my population?
The person who
Who
invested in
invested in
agrigold.
AgriGold?
All the people who are invested in AgriGold. Now tell me, I wanted to know the perceptions of the people in AgriGold. Now tell me, how can I identify an AgriGold customer?
On
Now tell me,
survey, sir.
right now, is it possible to get an AgriGold customer?
No, sir.
See, here there are two ways. One way is to know the AgriGold investor, I have to go to AgriGold office and I need to get the list of investors in AgriGold. But AgriGold offices were closed now. AgriGold
Yes,
AgriGold
sir.
offices were closed. So it is not possible to get AgriGold customers list. Then what to do? So this is a situation where we are unable to get sample from the population. I mean, we are unable to get sample from the population. So first of all, we do not know the population here. So in this case, what we can do is, but the beauty of AgriGold is, if you try to identify one particular fellow from AgriGold, this will be, this fellow was introduced by one particular fellow, and this fellow may introduce 3 fellows. Do you know this? Do you know this?
No, sir. No.
Chain process.
Chain process, sir.
It's a chain process. So investment in AgriGold is a chain process. So my point is, in snowball sampling, what we do is, with all difficulty, we try to identify one fellow. If you identify one fellow, with his help, how many customers how many list of customers we can identify?
3.
Totally 4 పట్టుకోవచ్చు కదా వీడిని వీటితో.
Yes, sir. 4, sir.
We can identify 4 people from this fellow, because this fellow was joined by another fellow, and this fellow joined 3 fellows. Now వీటితో 4 పట్టుకోవచ్చురా. ఈ 4 నుంచి మళ్ళీ 4 పట్టుకోవచ్చు. మళ్ళీ 4.
Yeah, maybe it was a network marketing, sir.
Exactly, like Amway.
Yes,
Chain
sir.
marketing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So my point is, snowball sampling is used. Snowball sampling is used when we are doing research on the studies where the study is consisting chain process. Study consisting the population of chain process. I hope you understand.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So all this is one important question, and very, very important for exam. Now we have another theoretical question that is called, very, very important, and again very, very important, hypothesis. And the question alagistadante, define hypothesis.
సార్ వీడియో ఆఫ్ చేసి మళ్ళీ రికార్డ్ చేస్తారా?
చేస్తాను, ఇది అయిపోయి చేస్తాను రా. The రెండు combined, sampling and hypothesis are combined. So I will finish this and I will stop it. Okay na? Define hypothesis and explain the procedure of testing of hypothesis. Question adutadra. Define hypothesis, explain the procedure of testing of hypothesis. First of all, I will tell you the meaning of hypothesis. Can somebody tell me, as per your knowledge, can you tell me the meaning of the word hypothesis?
Means like
Which is
guessing.
beyond the expectation.
Very good. Expectation. Inka, any other word?
known facts
Estimation.
Inka?
known facts నుంచి derive చేయడాన్ని.
Okay. From known facts, we may derive something. Okay, good. So, based on your words, we can say that hypothesis is
Further investigation.
correct, and further investigation also. So hypothesis is an assumption. We can say that hypothesis an assumption of a population parameter which may be true, or may not be true, but it can be testable. Chala meaning ఉంది ఇందులో. If you observe, hypothesis is an assumption of a population parameter. Got it? But whatever assume something about population parameter that may be true or may not be true in reality. Got it? But whatever assumption which may be true or may not be true you are taking, that can be in a position of testing. అంటే మనం దాన్ని టెస్ట్ చేసే విధంగా ఉండాలి. Then only we call it as a hypothesis. For example, I'm saying that the India's GDP is decreasing. Like the India's GDP has decreased due to coronavirus. Remember, whatever I'm assuming may be true in reality or may not be true in reality, but my assumption is called hypothesis. But remember, my word is, India's GDP has decreased due to corona and Japan. Now tell me, is it possible to test whether it is true or false or not?
It is possible, sir.
It is possible to test based on some available information. So my assumption is called hypothesis. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, we can assume another, we can say that, and generally, suppose another example, like in India, most of the younger generation are using social media, and due to social media, they're getting stress. Due to social media, they are feeling stress. Remember, my assumption is the younger generation in India are feeling stress due to the heavy usage of social media. So this might be my assumption, which may be true or may not be true. But tell me, can I test it or not?
Yes, sir.
I can test it. One more example. The average IQs of Andhra University students is more than the average IQs of Geetham College students. అంటే ఆంధ్ర యూనివర్సిటీ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఐక్యూ అనేది కాలేజ్ స్టూడెంట్స్ కంటే ఎక్కువ ఉంది. అరే గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, ఎక్కువ ఉందా తక్కువ ఉందా అనేది తర్వాత. వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు ప్రూవ్ ఇట్ లేటర్. బట్ వాట్ ఎవర్ అజంప్షన్ ఐఎమ్ టేకింగ్ ఈజ్ సెట్ టు బి మై హైపోథసిస్. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, a hypothesis can be tested with a hypothesis. A hypothesis can be tested with a sample information. See, always what we do is like an assumed statement can be tested with sample information. Got it? So that we need to extract the sample from the population, and this hypothesis can be tested by sample information with the following steps. So now I'm moving for testing of hypothesis. The procedure of testing of hypothesis. There are 5 steps in the testing of hypothesis. Procedure of testing of hypothesis. Okay, so this consisting 5 steps. Step 1, null hypothesis represented by H0. Step 2, alternate hypothesis bracket lo H1. Okay. Step 3, We call it as level of significance. Level of significance represented by alpha. Okay, step 4. Step 4. Test statistic. Test statistic. Okay, I will tell you about test statistic. Step 5. Conclusion. So very, very important. For this explanation of all these steps, I will send you a PPT again. But let's I explain with one sentence of all these steps. Then I will go with an example. Appudu oka example to explain chestanu. Now, null hypothesis. See, whatever assumption you have, in the assumption, if you take equality between two variables, so two variables majlo equivalent తీసుకోవడాన్ని null hypothesis అంటారు. That is, let's say there are two samples n1 and n2, వాళ్ళ means equivalent తీసుకోవడాన్ని null hypothesis అంటారు. I repeat, null hypothesis is defined as there is no significant difference అంటారు. There is no significant difference between the two samples, లేకపోతే between the parameters of two samples. So
మళ్ళీ రిపీట్ చేయరా?
null hypothesis, for example, two samples ఉన్నాయి అనుకోమ్మా, ఆ టూ శాంపిల్ పారామీటర్స్ అంటే ఆ టూ శాంపిల్ పారామీటర్స్ ఎప్పుడు ఈక్వల్ గా ఉన్నాయని అస్యూమ్ చేసుకోవాలి. సో దాన్ని ఎలా చెప్తామంటే null hypothesis can be defined as there is no significant difference. There is no difference. There is no significant difference between the parameters. అంటే no difference అంటే what is the meaning of no difference?
రెండు ఈక్వల్ అని అర్థం సార్.
Is nothing but equal. అంటే when we have two samples, the two samples parameters equal అని assume చేసుకోవడాన్ని null hypothesis అంటారు. Now alternate hypothesis అంటే alternate hypothesis is nothing but alternate, I mean other than null hypothesis, all possibilities equal. అంటే
నాట్ ఈక్వల్.
equal other than ఏం రాస్తామమ్మా, maybe h1 is hyphens x1 is less than to x2 అవ్వచ్చు, maybe h1 is hyphens to x1 is greater than to x2 అవ్వచ్చు, maybe ఈ రెండిట్లో కంబైన్ చేసి h1 is not equal to x1 is not equal to x2 అవ్వచ్చు. So these three are called as alternate hypothesis.
ఇద్దరు కలిపేశారు.
ఏంటమ్మా? These three are called as these three are
అనలేదా నువ్వు? చిన్న మిన్ను అనలేదా?
అమ్మా ఏంటమ్మా? అరే మీరు డిస్టర్బ్ చేస్తున్నారా? So getting equal relationship between two population parameters is said to be null hypothesis. So other than null hypothesis, any other statement is called alternate hypothesis. So in the null hypothesis, I have taken equality between two parameters. So equal ki other than, it might be less than, it might be greater than, it might be not equal. So these three statements are coming under alternate hypothesis. Level of significance ante generally there is a gap between population results as well as sample result. So statistics is saying that if you prove a particular hypothesis through sample, you may not get 100% accuracy in the result. Always there is a possibility for 5% risk. Ante whatever result we are giving through sample, the sample consisting only 95% confidence, 95% confidence, and there is always a risk of 5%. So that 5% is said to be level of significance center. Test statistic means here all this is calculation part. We can use various statistical tools to analyze sample information. Whatever result you get through sample is called as test statistic. Whatever output you get through sample information is said to be test statistic. So once you get test statistic value, then we can move for conclusion. I will explain all these steps with an example, no need to worry. But before going to the example, we will have, like, we can prove a particular hypothesis through sample, and that sample can be classified into two categories. One is large sample as well as small sample. So we can prove a particular hypothesis with either large sample or small sample. If your sample is more than 30, we call it as a large sample. If your sample is less than or equal to 30, we call it as a small sample. So my point is, I'm classifying the sample into large sample and small sample because based on the sample size, your statistical tool depends. If you use large sample, then Z-test is most suitable. If you use small sample, T-test is most suitable. So I'm going to take an example with Z-test, which is very, very important for exam. So in that example, I will explain all these 5 steps practically. So that question is very, very important for exam. Now I'm sending you a question to you, and that question I'm going to explain. So just a minute. I'm going to take an example.
In assignment 2, one question is there, sir. Notice.
5B is there, sir. 5B.
5B question. I will come to 5B. Before 5B, I would like to explain one more. Just a minute. I will explain another question, which is very, very important for exam. Assignment to labor. Please. Here I will stop the recording. I will make it another video.